Welcome to a Flock of Donkeys with your hosts, Adam and Gerrad.
Is he half like cowboy, half Japanese?
Nope.
Like, who is this guy?
And Gerrad Tim.
Could you imagine John Elway riding Thunder? I love Thunder.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a Flock of Donkeys, your undefeated Seahawks and Broncos podcast. I am your co-host, Seahawks fan, Adam and Gerrad. The man sitting across from me is about 10 times peppier than me today. Broncos fan, Gerrad Tim. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm kind of looking forward to this next week, too. We play the participants of the toilet bowl that just happened. So,
yeah,
pretty relaxed week.
We get Jacksonville and Oakland, who had played each other the previous week. And,
I can't wait for that.
Oh, yeah. Well, wins for everyone. Yeah.
So I think collectively, both of our divisions are improved even over last year.
Yeah.
I think, you and San Francisco are always at the top of the list.
Yeah.
And then, the AFC West was 4 for 4 yesterday.
It's true.
So,
well, cool.
Good.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get into a few things here today, folks. Coming at you today from a blustery Missoula, Montana. We're reviewing the Bayern brewery. How do you like me now? Got Bayern right out of the gate, so screw you.
Oktoberfest
lager. And, like as we stated on the last podcast, this is the best Oktoberfest. And that's
I
why
think
we're
so,
drinking
too.
it.
I haven't had a lot better.
And I'm fucking tired, and so it was easy to get that beer from just down the street. So that's
there
the way
go.
we roll there.
Adam rolled over to Seattle this weekend. Got the game.
Yeah, drove back today.
A slobber knocker of a game.
Slobber knocker, just totally gassed. But I'm bringing it for you folks today. I'm bringing it.
You're trying.
I am. I'm mustering. I'm rallying.
Sound like you smoked like 30 packs of cigarettes. Lost the voice. That's good though. If you didn't lose your voice, I would have kicked you in the balls the minute I saw you.
And if you hadn't, I would have kicked you in the balls back because I would have deserved it. So yeah, we're gonna go over
That's a fair ball crunch.
Yeah, we're gonna go over the Seahawks dominating win, the Broncos dominating win. We're gonna have the beer review somewhere in between there, and then as always, we're gonna finish up with the growing in popularity segment, the NFL
segment, where be sure to get your picks into us before the Thursday game.
Correct. And I will try to get the form up there early this week to submit your picks. It's very easy. You just go to a Flock of Donkeys, DONKIES, on Facebook. Super easy to find. If you can't do it, you're fucking retarded, and that's not my fault.
we don't want you a part of this anyways.
No, exactly. So
yeah, it's easy, man. You don't have to use a keyboard. Just click some buttons.
Yeah.
Picks are in. You're registered. Unless you want to do your top 5 power ranking, which we enjoy looking at those.
Yeah, well, and we're going to get into that. I haven't even tallied the final picks yet. I know mine were abysmal, but mine
were pretty good.
I'll eat the appropriate amount of crow over that. So stay tuned for that NFL segment there at the end of the pod. We'll tally up the picks, see who is the winner. I know between Gerrad and I, it's looking like he's going to be setting the cover photo for Facebook.
So be sure to look at that. Broncos all over it.
But if you do, your retinas may burn. So just, I don't know. Do it at your own risk.
With pleasure.
All right, so let's start out with a little bit of chicken scratch today, Gerrad.
I guess.
Yeah, because
by default.
And by the fact I was in the fucking stadium for the game, Gerrad. This was awesome.
Tell us about it.
Well, first off, I want to just thank Brandon Scholes, our good friend, for getting me hooked up for this game too. And then also for getting the prime treat of being down on the sidelines before kickoff. That was freaking awesome.
And, you told me you got close to Bob Costas. I remember getting a text from you. You're like, I'm literally, 5 or 20 feet, something
20
like that,
feet,
away from Bob Costas. I was like, I wonder if he's short.
He is short, but he's also a good-looking dude for his age. Like, Bob looks all right.
Really? Takes care of himself, huh?
Yeah.
Good for Bob.
Yeah, no, he's cool. Him and the always smiling Hines Ward was sitting next to him. So
I like Hines Ward.
That was cool. So got to see a little bit of him. And then
nice.
During pregame warm-ups, Sidney Rice came running down on a sprint drill and right at me.
Proposed to Adam.
I proposed to him, but pointed out, I was like, yeah, Sidney! And he comes running up, I was like, kill him today, brother! And he's like, yeah! And he gives me a high five. And when our palms touched, his fingers went 3/4 of the way up my forearm. It's fucking huge. But that was kind of exciting. So that was pretty fun. Clink Gresham also came down the line, kind of said hi to everybody, gave a little dap there, so that was
Nothing
fun.
like some snapper love.
Yeah. The night before we went to the Seahawkers, which is the official Booster Club's big yearly party. That was a lot of fun. Richard Sherman's mom was there. I got to talk to her a bit. One of the things she said is I said, thank you for your beautiful son. He's fucking awesome. And she laughed.
And then Adam proposed to her.
No, she proposed to me. Yeah. But she goes, yeah, no, he's great. He runs his mouth a little bit too much, though. And I was like, no, he doesn't.
Champ Bailey would agree with that woman.
I said, no, he doesn't. Have him keep it up. She's like, I'll let him know. So thank you very much, Mrs. Sherman. You are an absolute doll. That was pretty cool. We also bumped into Michael Crabtree's dad while we were going to breakfast the morning before, which was interesting. Just as surly as you might think, but he's in enemy territory. I don't blame him.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah. So those are all kind of fun experiences. But one of the first things I noticed about the game while I was standing on the sideline just before kickoff was the Niners' demeanor on the sideline. This is something that really stood out to me. There wasn't a word amongst them. I was maybe 10 yards from the bench, and they were just all staring forward, blank stares, not a word, no energy.
But do you think they could have even heard each other had there been words spoken?
Yeah, there actually at that point you could have. This was just before the national anthem,
right.
So the stadium wasn't loud at all. So the one guy that was kind of going around and talking to guys was Kaepernick. But it wasn't like he was giving you a little fiery, like, let's go, and getting you fired up. He was big, hey, man, you should catch the ball a lot this game. That'd be really cool. Another guy would be like, what? Oh, yeah, okay. And it was about that intensity. And then he'd just walk off.
One thing that I wonder about is, do you think this is a product of Harbaugh just being intense enough for everyone?
Maybe.
And maybe, because I know you are
the mindset.
A big believer that Harbaugh's really going to kind of fizzle out here. He's going to overdo it with people. He's too excited all the time. He's going to burn everybody out. Maybe this is a product of it.
I think it is. I mean, he's Rex Ryan West. I mean, I've said that a bunch of times.
Yeah, he is.
It's going to be the same story with him. But yeah, so that was an interesting observation, just kind of their demeanor before the game. I mean, the Hawks were freaking fired up. I mean, but
yeah, and so was the stadium. I remember watching the pregame for that, and Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth come on. And something was going on in the stadium pregame, and the crowd was raucous. And so Al Michaels is shouting. And then whatever was going on down on the field that the crowd was so excited about had ended, and they were finally a little more subdued. And Al Michaels was still shouting at the top of his lungs, and he was just shouting at the camera, and there's nothing going on in the background. And he starts to chuckle. He goes, I'm sorry, it's a little loud, or something like that. But it was funny because,
that is funny.
On a lot of games, these stadiums aren't designed really to have an effect in the booth, but this stadium is so loud that it does.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to see, all these guys having a tough time with, and Michelle Tafoya, of course, stands like 10 feet away from the microphone.
Right. With her
Can you
cardboard
hear me?
cutouts.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So.
No, that was interesting. Now, this is a game, when you ask me, what stood out about the game, one of the things that stood out is the crowd did affect this game. I mean, it really did.
They did from the first quarter.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. And one of the funnier things to me, regarding the crowd was once we had the weather delay and they get the players off the field and all that, everybody's just kind of milling around. A lot of guys kind of went inside. Maybe half the stadium's full. And they start putting on Collinsworth up on the screen while he's talking. He's like, I think this weather delay is going to benefit the 49ers because the fans had all this energy and now they don't, and blah, blah, blah. I didn't get to see it on the replay because they cut it out, but I want to know if you guys could hear the massive amount of booing that came directly after that comment. It was loud.
You could hear every subtle change between the time that the offense would take the field and they would quiet down, or the defense came on the field. It was loud, and you could hear those fluctuations.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like the Broncos fans booing Ryan Seacrest. It was hard to ignore.
Awesome, because fans were pissed, and when we came back,
They should have been.
That's when we broke the sound record. We beat the record for loudest stadium in the entire world.
Oh man,
we beat out some fucking Turkey people. So not jive turkey gobblers, but like people from Turkey.
I can't believe it took so long for that reference to come out.
Yeah. So I feel pretty good. That fit right in. I say that a lot, by the way. But point being is that
you wish
the stadium, it was every bit as raucous as advertised. We were right down there at kickoff when things are real loud, and it's not the loudest thing I've ever heard. I grew up on the end of a fucking runway. Like, literally, like, my bedroom was maybe 100 yards from the end of the runway. I swear to Christ.
But other than jet engines over the top of your head, I think this was probably pretty good.
Right. I'm just saying I have experience with it, and this was pretty loud. So that was cool. They crushed the record. Way to go, Seahawks fans. You are indeed the rowdiest. But first quarter starts out, and this game, especially the first half, this is exactly what these two teams are. Try to establish a run and beat the fuck out of you with their defense. And I think that's exactly how this played out.
It seemed like you guys at the beginning of the game were both teams were prepared to just trade blows in the beginning of the game to see who could try and wear each other out. And then it became, in that, later on, then of course that's when the game opened up. Well, you'll talk about that later. But yeah, in the beginning of this game, this was just one match where you're like, you hit me, I'll hit you, and we'll see who's going to wear down quicker, basically.
Exactly. Where do you want the pain? That's
mine. You can't use that.
Huh? I'm stealing it for this one time.
It was a slobber knocker, man.
It was a slobber knocker, and it was fun to watch because that's the brand of football that the Seahawks play with: is in your face, smash mouth, fuck you. You can't do anything against us, especially in the passing game. Holy cow! Yeah. Defense. I want to start out by talking about the defense because they were by far the best unit out of the three today. Or yesterday, and
I think the first two games they were.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And they were even better in this game than in the Carolina game. You know, they held Kaepernick to 127 passing yards. That's abysmal. I think that's less than Cam Newton.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I think Cam had 170 something.
Yeah.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah. And 3 picks. 3 picks. Each one of the playing Legion of Boom had a pick in this game.
This game was definitely a brutal one on Colin Kaepernick, and he was deflated after a little while. I don't expect him to play this bad, but also when you factor in how just fucking loud it is the entire time, and after a physical defense coming at you like that, he kind of seemed like he had that look on his face where he knew he was going to have to do it all himself the entire game.
It was a bit of that deer in the headlight look.
Yeah, and he had 87 rushing yards, but he couldn't get anything done through the air, and then you shut all of his runs down. And then he was just deflated after that.
Yeah, I think you could kind of see that after about the third possession for them, because, on that first drive that we had, we ended up punting, and we have the block punt. And I actually missed this while I was getting back to my seats, and I didn't get to see it until the replay.
He had to use the ladies' room.
No, I was coming from the sidelines like a fucking baller. And it took a while to get the fuck up there and get a beer.
When you have to stop the pee twice.
I have a small bladder, and I've been working with Joe Theismann for whatever drug it is he takes for that problem.
Right.
What is that, prostate beta plus
or
something like that?
Yeah, either way.
When you get older, you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But I finally made it there after emptying myself and multiple times apparently, and missed that. But how weird was that somebody from the sideline, a 49ers fan, blows a whistle.
That was bizarre. That was one of the most bizarre plays I've seen.
So how do they not call the
offsides
that happened before that even anyway? And then there's basically that's like a personal foul almost, or what are they, unsportsmanlike or something along those lines? That should have been called against it too.
That was a stretch where I was like, man, if I was a Niners fan or a Seahawks fan right now, I'd be like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. How are we getting hosed this early in the game?
It was tough. Every single call went against us in that first half, including some big-time non-calls as well. There was there towards the end of the second quarter, Wilson hands the ball off. I'm gonna get this done, Gerrad. Fuck you, and I'm doing it pretty well to this point.
Today, June,
today. So Wilson, he goes. Hands the ball off to Lynch on the read option. It's that rule everybody's talking about where if you are just handing the ball off, you
the defenseless position or whatnot, right?
Yeah, whether you're in a passing position or in a running position, your running position, they can light you up. So Wilson gets lit the fuck up, which is fine because that's within the rule, except for the fact that Ahmad Brooks planted the crown of his helmet right in his fucking chest. That's leading with your helmet. That's a personal foul.
It's a personal foul.
So that was the second big bad call. The next one on that was later in that drive, Wilson scrambles, slides, and I think it was Willis came in super late, hits him, and it wasn't that he hit him, it's that he drilled him in the head with his forearm.
Yeah, with his forearm. I did see that too.
Fucking bullshit. It was tough. They also had we went for it on 4th and 1 and gave us the shittiest spot in the history of spots. I could see that from the stands, man. There was no way that wasn't a first down. And if you want to tell me that it was, or that it was 4th down, go fuck yourself.
You're just expecting me to disagree with you, aren't you? Just to fuck
That's
with
a preemptive go fuck yourself. So yeah. But I'm
picking it up.
The first three out of the 4 drives, killed off by penalties, random fucking ones here and there. That's again frustrating. I mean, the guy that I ended up hanging out with while I was there, he was just as frustrated. Everybody was. I mean, every penalty, it was unbelievable how many that we ended up with, but just a bunch of shitty calls. And first score of the game is a safety. Go up 2-0 in the top of the second.
Down that holding call in the end zone.
The holding call in the end zone. And that was a bad holding call on Brad Miller there. That was super, super obvious. And it was
he just tackled the dude on his back.
Yeah.
Like he was on the dude's back and tackled him into the ground. There's no more obvious holding than that.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was pretty interesting there. And on that play itself, you had, I I believe it was Malcolm Smith who just put a sick spin move to get to the quarterback there. And if he's not tackled, he blows Kaepernick up. Another guy that was in Kaepernick's face all day was Michael Bennett. That whole defensive line, our pass rush was ferocious in this game as compared to the first game. I really feel like
it was a lot better. And, kind of one of those reasons I think the 49ers offensive line is a little overrated. Because, you guys just destroyed them completely.
We're the only one that destroys them.
I wouldn't say that. It's a new year. We'll see what happens.
Well, I'm just saying to this point, we're the only one that destroys them.
In 2 games, okay.
Well, yeah. That's the sample size. Do you want me to make up games?
No, I'm just saying I think that they're going to be overrated. That's my opinion about it. Is that not okay?
Yeah, it's not okay because there's a lot of first-round talent on that line, and there's a lot of people that would make the argument that that's the best offensive line in football.
Okay. I don't think it's the best offensive line in football.
Is the Denver Broncos the best offensive line in football?
I think they're a top 5 easily, definitely.
I think they're a top 5 too. I think you could make the argument. I just figured that's where you're going with that.
Oh, no, huh? I just don't think the 49ers offensive line is as good as advertised.
Oh, well, who is the number 1 offensive line in your eyes?
I don't know. I haven't even thought about that. I'd have to go through all the teams. We don't got time for that shit.
Okay,
Maybe I'll come back to that with that NFL segment. We'll go over that.
Okay, cool. I was just curious. All right. So Michael Bennett, he was just disruptive, like I said, just in the backfield, all around Kaepernick all day. We chased him all over the place because the coverage was freaking outstanding.
Yeah, you guys covered well the entire game.
Richard Sherman, yeah, he's the best cover corner in football. Lock it up. It's done. You can tell right now. Anquan Bolden, 13 catches last game. Sherman shadowed him the whole game. You know how many catches he had?
Didn't he have just one?
One.
Yeah.
One for 7 yards, and Sherman wasn't on him on that play.
Yeah.
It was awesome. That interception in the second half that was thrown, I was up there, and you could see Kaepernick winding up. You could see where he's going. I turned to the dude next to me. I was like, dude, he's all over this. This is a pick. And as it comes out of his hand, before it comes out of Kaepernick's hand, boom, Sherman picks it off. Fucking game changing right there. Where defense was just outstanding. Linebackers, that was.
Well, you guys definitely proved that you are the best defense in the NFL. Without question. When this Green Bay the Niners beat this really good NFC Green Bay team, and then you came in and just pummeled the 49ers pretty much. When you look at the overall game, you guys were clearly the better team in this game. I think your defense had a lot to do with that against a defense that you guys wore them down. You guys wore this whole team down. So. I think this game really proved to me that you guys are kind of setting the standard as far as defense goes in the NFL right now.
I agree. When you hold a team to 100 net rushing yards and 107 net passing yards, 207 yards of net offense,
that's either not good or really good, depending on which side of that you're on.
Well, I like being on this side of it because it feels fucking great.
But to me, that defensive performance, it's that's what you want your team to do.
Dominating.
These are the players you want to model after here. This is the structure you want.
Yeah.
So
Chris Averill,
impressive.
Chris Averill made his return to this game. Was just a man possessed. He's going to be a difference maker.
He
for
played
us.
a lot better. He played awesome this game.
Can you imagine when it's Clemens and him opposite each other, and then they're taking Bruce from the linebacker spot and moving him around in there too? We're going to have a ferocious freaking pass rush with Michael Bennett, with his penetration, and Jordan Hill, which we're going to get back as well. That's the one thing that really impressed me about this defense is those guys I just rattled off there we're not playing with as well. We didn't play with Browner either. Shut these guys the fuck down.
I know what it's not like. I know what it's like to not have to have a couple of your defensive guys in there.
Yeah,
I'm familiar.
Yeah, exactly. But those are key cogs and guys that are just going to make the team better. One thing that was really impressive is the way we shut down the tight ends. Vernon Davis wanted no part of this game.
Well, no shit, dude. It's like Cam Chancellor could have happened all over again.
Yeah, exactly. He heard the Cam train rolling around out there, and he wasn't going to do shit out there.
He'll wait till week 3 to play.
Exactly. He was only targeted, Anquan was only targeted twice, I think.
Kaepernick really looked like he would look at one route and then he'd run. Like that was what he was doing all game.
Well, and that speaks a little bit to the point that I heard Trent Dilfer make last week, and he said, I've said this to Colin himself, is that he's a remedial level quarterback. It's 1-2 reads, run, and he needs to be able to go through his progressions more to be a actual legitimate quarterback in this league.
Did you even see him go to his third progression? I know I wasn't watching it too closely, but any of the ones where I was kind of paying attention or what he was doing, I didn't really think he went to any third progression reads at all.
If it was his third progression, it was
the
only
run.
Yeah, because he was running for his life, and he just had to somehow start looking around just to find somebody. Yeah. And even then, one of the things that I think benefits us for playing Russell Wilson in practice every day is we're pretty good against that scramble drill shit.
Yeah, and you guys can defend the run pretty well. He did have 87 yards, which was pretty good, but, he couldn't do anything else.
A lot of those were on broken plays and things like that, and that's the hardest thing to defend fine.
Well, and that's what Kaepernick brings to the table, too.
Of course.
That's just a part
I'm
of it.
fine with that. But when we hold Frank Gore to 16 yards,
that's pretty good.
I'll hang my hat on that every day. I mean, there was no running room for them in a traditional running situation. And, just to watch us suck the will out of the 49ers was...
Yeah, that whole second half, you're just like, they don't even look like they want to play the rest of this game.
No, they didn't. They truly didn't. Marshawn ended up with a big game, kind of switching the offensive side of the ball a little bit. Ended up with 98 yards rushing, which, it doesn't sound like a lot because it doesn't sound like 100, except for it's like 100.
It's a lot of yards nowadays in the NFL.
And he's done that for 4 straight games against the Niners now. We did actually run the ball better against the 49ers than the Carolina Panthers, Jared. Should we put this on the douchebag wrong segment?
No.
Have
you never been wrong?
No, I'm wrong all the time. I'm just calling. I'm just
all right,
saying.
I know. I got to swallow that one.
Yeah.
I was a little low on you guys going into this game. I can admit it.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. I mean, the Niners, not only did we run the ball against them, but we fucking dominated them. And who did you have in this game?
I had the Niners in this game.
Who?
49ers, man.
The 49ers? Oh, okay, like the fifth best team in football.
Yeah, the fifth best.
But, Marshawn had the big game.
Everybody gets one game wrong. This was one I got wrong. My picks killed yours, so.
Oh, I got lots of games wrong this last week. It was a rough week for me. All at the last minute, it seems like. But, yeah. So it did. I don't know. But, getting back to the offense, Marshawn, 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 receiving. The receiving one was hilarious because Russell tosses it out there and he kind of looks around and he trots over to the edge of the end zone and he just stands there and he's like, well, are one of you guys going to play? Oh, you're not? Okay. And he steps across
that was
the
kind
goal
of
line.
the point where you realized where the game was going to be headed the rest of the time.
Yeah, you knew
over.
it from that point forward. The crowd did. Only being up 5-0 at the end of the second was interesting.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
7th inning stretch and it's 5-0.
And then we end up going up 12-3. And I was like, 12-3, seriously?
Another 12 points for the Seahawks.
I almost wanted that to be the finishing score. I thought that would have been freaking hilarious. But this is the exact type of game that we want to play, short of Russell Wilson probably having his worst game in his pro career, in my opinion. Not that he was terrible. There was a lot of drops and, tight coverages and that sort of thing. But
you did say that I do remember you saying that this 49ers, these corners were kind of average at best.
Yeah.
And so one number really, really popped out at me, and this is kind of the question I have for you.
Yeah.
Was the number
8 for
3.
19?
No.
Oh.
The number 3.
Russell Wilson?
Well, as long as that equals the number of passes that he completed to wide receivers. That's it.
Yeah, the wide receivers were covered pretty well in this game.
So is it there were some openings,
and
too.
there were a bunch of drops too. After I gave Sidney Rice the low 5, he drops the touchdown pass.
But still, 3. I mean,
a bunch were called back on penalties as well. So that's something to keep.
I wouldn't say
account.
a bunch. I saw a couple. Yeah.
Yeah, at least 3.
But so I guess my main concern is 3 is not a lot to your receivers.
Mm-hmm.
What is he seeing, or what were the 49ers taking away at that point?
Well, I think they wanted us to check down constantly all game. I mean, that was part of it.
So they were able to handle like your wide receiver load, though, as opposed to being a mediocre at best, kind of coverage team. Are they a little better then?
If you want to go ahead and concentrate completely on our receivers, then we'll pick you apart with the tight ends. If you concentrate on any position group in the NFL and you have any sort of talent like the 49ers do, being, arguably the 3rd best defense in the league, they can take away one position group, and that's what they did. They took away one position group, and we beat them with every other one.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just whatever your strategy is on that, and that was their strategy. They keyed hard on Marshawn as well, but couldn't stop him,
Well, that's true.
Turbin had a couple nice runs as well. Kristen Michael didn't even suit up for this game.
You probably won't see him till there's an injury to one of your top 2 guys.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And Spencer Ware's getting carries too, so.
Yeah. But, one of the biggest passes of the game, kind of, to your point, was Marshawn Lynch's 35-yard catch on one of our first half drives there. That was one of those that you're finally like, God, okay, they finally got something going. But Doug Baldwin only had 1 catch after, having a good game last week. But guess what it was for? A 3rd down conversion on a 3rd down and 12. And it was a huge one. So,
and one of the other things that I kind of wanted to go along these lines are, he had a rough game, and I know that defense is – I guess this gives more of a credit to San Francisco's defense
sure,
at this point. But when you look at what an Aaron Rodgers does to a San Francisco defense compared to what a Russell Wilson does.
Sure.
Aaron Rodgers completely torched him. Threw for a high percentage, a couple of touchdowns, like 333 yards. And then, Russell Wilson can only find his receivers 3 times. It's just
he found him more than
there's
that. But
there's a difference.
We discussed what happened with those, but yeah.
Whatever. There were 3 completions to your receivers. You can call it what you want. Drop balls, that's on your receivers, or misplays, whatever. But I think it goes to say
it's not that he can't find him or he can't target him. It's not his fault if the receiver doesn't catch the ball. I don't know how you pin that on him.
Well, all I'm saying is that this kind of gives you the difference between an Aaron Rodgers and a Russell Wilson at this point in their careers. There's the tier there and there's a level. So I think playing the Niners defense twice, these 2 teams playing the Niners defense twice in as many weeks, I think you kind of get to see just where they're at as far as their careers and their season and kind of where Russell Wilson has to go. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to get all offensive on you.
And I'm not offended. I wouldn't agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more on this because you look at the top 4 quarterbacks in this league, and you can put them in any order. But Aaron Rodgers, I believe, is the best.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's
Aaron
no
Rodgers,
there.
Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Drew Brees. Is Russell Wilson not in their category as far as a pure thrower at this point in his career? No, he's not. Can he throw up a 320-yard game like he did in the last game against the Carolina Panthers and torch a defense? You bet. Can he do it every single game like an Aaron Rodgers? No. But he brings other aspects to the game that those other quarterbacks don't with his legs and that running dimension. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is mobile to a degree, but he's not Russell Wilson
he had a few
mobile.
running yards too.
Yeah. I mean, but he's not Russell Wilson mobile. And, it's a difference in style of play a little bit too. Russell Wilson's never going to look like those guys and put up numbers.
I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about sheer effectiveness and efficiency against the same defense. It's a good comparison to go off of in these first couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's something to look at. I'm definitely not going to be the first one to tell you that the passing game looked good in this game. I mean, we didn't. We have work to do.
Yeah, there's some work to do.
Part of that is Russell Okung goes out with a toe injury. I think we're right around the end of the first quarter. That's tough. I mean, he's our Pro Bowl left tackle and out. So we shift McQuiston over to left tackle and end up putting Carpenter in at guard. Carpenter had a good game, and that was great to see.
Yeah, he finally did.
But McQuiston got beat badly by Alden Smith a few times. Not to say that
that's going to happen.
I mean, it's Alden Smith.
It's going to happen
when Justin Smith is playing. So yeah, then he's good. And that was a little tough, but with that said, we imposed our fucking will on these guys. I was pretty pleased with, all 3 phases of the game. Special teams played well. They forced a fumble towards the end of the game. Golden had a few nice returns. Offense wasn't their prettiest showing, but anytime that you throw 29 points on the board, that's a good game.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think that showed that the differences between the Seahawks and 49ers performances in week 1 weren't nearly that different as everybody was saying. You see these 2 teams match up the next week, and one clearly dominated.
Yeah, it was a pretty dominating performance, actually.
Yeah. So, but all we did was hold serve. We still have to go to San Francisco. That is still going to be a tough game.
It's going to be a tough game on the road. And I don't really expect Colin Kaepernick to throw that many picks again.
No.
I still don't see them as being a better team than you guys by any means. But
no, but they're damn good.
Maybe a little closer.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a closer game.
Yeah.
But then again, who knows?
Hard telling, you never know. But so, yeah, that's kind of everything I had to say about that game. Oh, other than as I was down on the sidelines, I literally brushed elbows with Walter Jones, and that was pretty exciting.
Nice.
Yeah. I hope I didn't give him the Emmert bounce, too.
Probably did.
Fuck.
It's just the way it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Have we described the Emmert bounce on here? Do people
know?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's hard to really describe and really comprehend, but basically, if it's almost like Murphy's Law, but it applies to me, and it's more with, say you were to hit a golf ball down the middle of a fairway, it'd hit like a sprinkler head and a goose and end up in a water hazard. Like, that's pretty much how it goes.
I've seen something very close to that happen.
Yeah. You can confirm this is a real thing. So, and I think it's transferable, like that one movie with John Goodman, like he was the evil spirit and he touched people and it just go from person to person.
Yeah, I don't think I've made any sort of contact with you in the last year, actually, to try and prevent this.
Well, there's a lot of reasons for that, but the restraining order might be one, but...
There's a bulletproof glass wall right between us.
Yeah, this is monitored. This is monitored by the police. But so yeah, everything I had to say about that fun game. Loved hanging out with Chris. Just a little shout out to you, buddy. If you end up listening, he was fucking hilarious. I told him this is a podcast where we smoke, swig, and swear, and he said back, "How'd you know all the rules to my life?" And I
think we're in the majority there at this point.
Yeah, he's a good dude. So we may have him on later. He was fucking hilarious. He gave me a 3-point tutorial on how to get laid every time. It's pretty funny. We might talk about that.
Don Juan. I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a funny guy.
All right.
So
do you want to talk about the Jags at all?
Yeah, well, I was going to do it quickly. We talked about the Niners game quite a bit. So
there's a lot to talk about. That's a big divisional game, and this is worst of the toilet bowl. This is the loser of the toilet bowl you guys are playing.
Wow, they're the worst team in the league. They're coming to the best team in the league's house.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, what's there to really say? We're going to fucking destroy them. We'll probably play a lot of backups. I don't even see any of these guys that are injured that we've just been kind of nursing. None of them come back this week.
Yeah. I did watch the Raiders-Jags game because we play the Raiders, and they're a divisional opponent, so I thought I'd watch I'd watch most of the game.
As much as you could tolerate.
But there's one thing about the Jags is that, they're not a dirty team. They're not going to get penalized a lot. They just don't have talent anywhere.
Right.
Chad Henne really didn't play bad, and I think if he had a good team, he'd be all right. But, they just don't have any contain on defense. They can't run the ball. They can't pass protect. They're not a good football team. That's all I can say.
They're not. And I don't even want to predict a margin because we'll see T-Jack in this game. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, you'll put some backups in. This is a backup experience game.
Yeah, exactly. Think of this as preseason game number 5. That's all there is.
There you go. It's like a bye week.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is that classic trap game in a way. You play your biggest rival, blah, 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 blah.
I don't believe in the whole trap game thing. This is just...
Not when the disparity is this
Teams
big.
don't do that, really. They don't lose those games
Not
anymore.
when the disparity is this big.
I mean, you could have considered the Denver-Baltimore game a trap game, but it's just sometimes you lose a game.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Trap or not, fuck you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you lose.
We're not losing this game.
Nope.
There's no possible way. I mean, I love Gus Bradley. Like, bless his little heart down there, doing the best he can, like the little engine that could.
Yep.
But
I would like to say that 99 times out of 100 you'll win this game, but it's more than that.
okay, I did just have one thought though. So
just one. That's all he's got today, folks.
Yeah, no, I don't have multiple. God,
not even words.
Not even words.
Thoughts.
I don't even have singular words to spit out here, let alone have one singular thought. But the one singular thought that I did manage to muster was that think of how many ex-Seahawks are on that team. How much insider information do they have about this team and what we do? Do you think that affects the game at all?
Everybody's got tape on what you guys are doing. Everybody's got tape on what everybody's doing. It's all about execution at that point. You know a lot of the formations that are coming at you.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of putting it together and putting 11 guys on a defense to put it together.
Do you maybe know tendencies a little bit more or having?
Yeah, a little bit. It almost depends on how much time you put with your former team and how many of the former team are still on the team, because you guys have had the highest turnover in the last 4 to 5 years than anybody.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's a little bit of that, but players are constantly going from one team to the other. Darrelle Revis said he was going to share the Jets' secrets. I was like, they have a secret? What the fuck would that be?
Yeah, everybody knows that Rex Ryan has a foot fetish and has a Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, I can't believe that somebody took it seriously. Oh, he's going to share the Jets' secrets. Like, good, maybe they'll win a game. And they did.
They did.
And the Jets won a game.
Aw.
Secret's up.
Everybody gets a trophy, Jared.
Right? Thanks for participating, New
Right.
York. So how much of that goes into it? I don't know. I think you're either going to outplay them or you're not. And I don't know if the Jags even score on you guys.
See, we didn't play our best game in the San Francisco game. We didn't play our best game in the Carolina game, and those two teams are significantly better. If we don't play our best game in this game, I still think we win.
But the thing about playing your best game, I mean, you also got to think about what the other teams are taking away from you.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to give them credit. So
I do.
To beat a San Francisco team 29-3,
yeah,
that seems pretty fucking good. I know there were miscues and stuff, but a lot of that was San Francisco just doing their thing on D. So
yeah.
You guys were impressive, man, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You guys ran the ball pretty well. You were physical. The same thing happened the last time the Niners and the Seahawks played.
Yeah.
You guys just fucking blew them over at one point,
Yeah, it's true. Just kind of wore them down.
Yeah, go back to San Francisco. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, I hope Ricardo Lockett's still Kaepernick's roommate, so he can kind of help hug him and cry himself to sleep tonight. So with one eyebrow missing.
I hope to God he does that.
He doesn't do it.
They played that Madden commercial during the game,
right?
He's got to do it.
You got to do it. How do you not do it? I would have totally drinking coconut milk if we had lost that bet.
Oh, yeah, but that's a little... I could pound a coconut milk. I'd prefer not to shave my eyebrow off.
Whatever. If you're calling Kaepernick, it's not like you're not going to be getting ladies because you have one of your eyebrows shaved
That's
off.
true. You're like, fuck it. I got one eyebrow. What do you care?
In fact, that probably only increases your cred because you got the nuts to follow through on a bet, unlike Aaron Rodgers.
I hope there's some uproar if he doesn't do this. I hope people are pissed.
Yeah.
Hold him accountable.
And honestly, if the Hawks would have lost and Russell wouldn't do it, I would have panned him for it too. Because a bet's a bet.
You have to hold him accountable.
Especially when it's videotaped.
It's videotaped.
And played on national TV.
On record. I saw it and heard it with my own eyes and ears.
Yeah. So I don't think Chad Henne or Blaine Gabbert has any bets with Russell Wilson for this game.
Probably not.
No. because they'll lose, and that'd be sad for them.
I mean, the Jags might get some points, maybe a kick.
Well, I don't know. We were holding opponents to an average of 5 points a game, so
Yeah,
and
that's
they're
not
averaging 5 points a game on offense. So we'll see what happens.
Maybe they'll get a field goal.
We might give them one just so they feel good.
Or some random thing happens. You guys throw a snapped punt through the back of the end zone. Maybe it's a 2-point.
Oh, yeah. Or Max Unger has another fucking low snap like he did in this game. That's 2 games in a row. He's had 3 of those now. What the hell is going on with our Pro Bowl center?
I don't know.
Fuck.
Our original backup center's playing awesome.
Right? I mean, what the fuck? I don't understand. There's all these just weird fucking things. That's what I'm saying. When we don't play our best game, we do these fucking weird things. It's like
you can't
we're always
beat yourself.
It's like we're always having a Miles Decker game. Like
Hey, he rebounded this game. Let's leave Decker out of this.
I know.
Right? He got over his. You get over yours.
Oh, we did 29-3. So it's good. So yep, that's everything I have to say. I think
Good. I'm tired of talking about the Seahawks.
All right, fantastic. I'll never be. But up next, we're going to be reviewing the Bayern Oktoberfest lager. It is the best Oktoberfest lager, so if you want to know more about it, come back and don't be fucking lame. See you soon. All right, welcome back, folks. Time for the beer review.
Yeah, I remember last week we said we were going to start doing beers that were a little more accessible to everybody.
Right, but this was the most accessible to me as I was tired as fuck and didn't want to go for it.
Yeah, so we're going to go selfish and drink one of my favorite beers, actually.
Yeah, I would put it right up there. It's definitely one of my favorite beers, and it's so close by. And I think the mountain range that is on the front here, does that or does that not look like the Mission range? I think it does.
Yeah, that definitely is.
Now, the Mission Mountain Range here in Montana is basically my holy place, and it is the most beautiful, amazing spot in the world. And
besides the Beartooths. But they're both equally
I don't know.
amazing.
You kind of conceded that when we went up to Grey Wolf Lake.
Oh, no, I don't think I did.
No, you didn't say, oh, I see what you're talking about. You win? Those words didn't come out of your mouth?
I don't think there was like a competition of winning.
No, it wasn't. And I didn't think there was, but you said it, and I was kind of surprised by it.
I don't remember that.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right.
Okay. But at least Scott.
Don't come to Montana. This place sucks.
Yeah.
We
it's
argue
terrible.
over our shitty places.
Yeah, we have bad beer too that we're going to talk about. So don't worry about it. But yeah, so the Bayern Oktoberfest, an interesting beer in the fact that it is brewed via the Brewers Guild of Munich's beer code. Brewers Guide of Munich. That's what it is.
Yep.
No, Brewers Guild of Munich.
There it is.
There it is. It's like the Lollipop Guild. Only
How
drunker.
well can Adam read a label?
Well, it's itty bitty fucking text on diamond, contrasted paper. It's fucking impossible to
A
read.
1981 sweater
background. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's the Brewers Guild of Munich standards that it's brewed to, which was established back in 1815. So one thing about the dude that owns the brewery is that he's actually from Germany, and so he brews things, in that manner.
His German beers are good.
It's really good. It is. They say it's a classic German style dark Märzen. Is that what I decided that was pronounced as?
I don't know. I heard you go through 4 different things, and I just kind of hope you were going to do that again.
And
have that internal battle go on with yourself because it was fun to witness.
I sounded like Archer when he blows out his eardrum and puts his hand up to his ear. Nah. Just couldn't come up with an enunciation there. But, it's not too sweet, little malty. It's got a nice hop flavor. It's good, good beer.
All right, Billy Mays. No, I love the beer though. Yeah, it's one of those transitions, summertime to wintertime. Oktoberfest is good. Let's do the drink. What's the drinkability scale on this for the chicas?
Oh, that's a good question because I think this is actually relatively high on the drinkability scale. I do because it's they say it's not too sweet, but it is sweet-ish. And,
it's got the sweet aftertaste.
Yeah, it's kind of almost in that summer honey mold or something along those lines.
But darker.
Yeah, but darker and a little richer. I would give this.
Yeah, summer honey. Go ahead and give them another reference they won't understand.
Well, fuck. Give me another popular beer with fucking honey in it that's sweet.
I don't know. I don't think it's
exactly
that
so.
sweet.
That's why I went with the summer honey.
But
no, it's not that sweet.
It's a sweet.
Just saying, it's in the sweet range. Jesus, man. No, dude, I disagree with everything you say, though. Even though I agree with it.
Well, I don't think it's as sweet as summer honey.
No, it's not. But it's sweeter than say like fucking Guinness.
Yes, it is.
Okay. That's all I'm getting at.
What's your drinkability?
8, motherfucker.
I'm pulling the right strings today, man.
Yeah, because I'm like practically unraveled at the seams
already. I told
already.
you better be ready for this.
And I'm doing okay.
I told you,
I'm doing okay for being on my B game. You rested all weekend.
Fuck. Yeah, a little bit.
exactly.
I got it as a 7. I'm serious. I got it as a 7. I think it
said that, and I was mid-drink. I almost fucking died there.
I think I put it as a 7 because it's got a little bit of a sweeter finish, but the first taste is a little dark.
Yeah. Okay.
And so chicks tend to be turned away from dark beers. Not all of them. There are a lot of women who love awesome beers, and we love you.
Some ladies like all sorts of dark things, but they if you don't tell them it's dark, they might not know it's dark.
Yeah, coming out of the bottle, they might be fooled.
Yeah, they don't know. So yeah, full of chica. See how it goes for you. But this beer would work well for what I found out are the 3 guaranteed steps to get laid from Chris at the
that's right.
I
can't wait to hear these.
First thing he says is A, work out. B, get her drunk. 3, don't be a pussy.
That sounds about right.
I think
that sounds pretty good.
I think he's onto something here.
I think he knows the steps.
Yeah. So that works out. So this beer would fall under phase 2 or B, depending on which scale you go on, because I mixed them both there.
2B.
2B. Get her drunk.
Okay. Words of wisdom from Adam's random friend that he met in Seattle.
Dude, he's fucking hilarious, man. I'm telling you. We're going to get him on this pod.
All right.
So, yeah, that'd be my drinkability scale. There's your surefire for me to get laid if you're in a dry spell.
Man, people are just educated listening to this. I know I am.
All the pertinent information you need
I
to
now know the steps to being Don Juan.
Were none of the ladies Don Juan anything to do with you?
Well,
see, you thought I didn't have anything in me today.
You don't.
Just think that. Yeah, you look at your notes there because we're coming up with some donkey spit next.
Preparing, and it's going to be good.
All right, stay tuned. All right, and we're back, folks. Time for some donkey spit because they happen to win 2 and be undefeated. Congratulations on that, Gerrad.
Yep. We're winning big time. We're scoring an average of 45 points a game at this point.
Yeah, you beat him like an older brother.
Manning Bowl number 3.
Yeah.
Peyton is now 3-0 against his younger brother.
Yes, he is.
And this was pretty dominating after the second half, really.
It
was close up until then. And, the Giants were doing a lot of good things. We had, we got out of rhythm there in the second quarter. But, other than that, what a fucker. I don't even, what a dick. Burping on my fucking donkey talk here. What an ass.
You forgot to.
What an ass. All right. I'm going to moving on.
I had nothing today, remember?
That's right.
Okay.
But, one of the things that we're doing with these teams was we're facing them into a shootout because we've given up 88 yards on the ground in 2 games. We gave up like 20 today.
Yeah.
Or yesterday, whenever the fuck that game was. 23 or some shit.
When you have Peyton Manning running your offense, you're going to create a lot of shootouts because, one thing that he does is score fucking points.
Yep. And our defense is good enough to limit people to basically under our grand total. Right. So anytime we can get a team into a shootout, we're not really going to lose that game.
So basically what you're saying is that your team scores a lot of points and your defense is allowing you to keep them so that they have less points and therefore you win?
Points, yes. That is exactly our formula.
So what you're saying is when you score more points than them, you win.
And we're keeping it simple.
Wow.
Yeah.
Groundbreaking.
Apparently, my team is as simple-minded as me.
Call Mike Wallace. It's a 60
Score
minutes
more points, and you will win the game. So I like it. What we've done with these first 2 teams, what we've done with these first 2 teams is the same exact thing. We'll come out in the first half, we kind of get a feel, see what they're doing, and then the second half is just completely over.
True.
The Giants got the ball first in the second half, and we just completely took over.
Well, it was weird. I don't know what was going on in that game. I don't know if they were trying out Vaseline the Wonder Jelly on the ball because between both teams, there were a shit ton of drops, fumbles.
There were, and
it was a little sloppy that first half.
The sun was a big part of that, too. You could tell it was coming over the west side of the stadium. They were having a tough time seeing the ball. Both teams. Hakeem Nicks dropped one like that. Eric Decker dropped one like that. So that was a factor. You could tell they were just looking at it, just couldn't see it.
Dude, that excuse doesn't fly anywhere past Little League. You know that. Coach, I couldn't see the balls in the sun.
Whatever. I don't care.
Okay.
We fucking beat the shit out of these guys.
Russell Wilson
only do whatever they want to.
Russell Wilson only threw to 3 receivers. There were reasons, but forget about that.
All right. Anyways, we overcame 13 penalties, which were 132 yards, and you never want to penalize yourself the length of the field. That's terrible.
Yeah.
So the
or
fact
length
that we
in the third of the field.
Yeah, the fact that we still scored this many points, and our defense hung in tight with an Eli Manning, John Coughlin, offense.
A John Coughlin offense?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, cool. Is his brother coaching now, or?
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere.
I don't know. I thought maybe Tom Coughlin got too red, and they had to import a new Coughlin.
You can never get too red. Shanahan set that precedent, man.
There's a reason he coaches the Redskins.
Who's redder, Shanahan
and a red
or
off?
Coughlin? Yeah, let's have a red off.
How mad are they? Because that's the question.
Jay Cutler just threw his third interception.
Oh, and Tiki Barber just fumbled for the third time?
Yes.
Oh, that's equal mad. I think that overall Shanahan gets redder as like his whole face, but I think the intensity of the patches of red on Coughlin gets more like he was stranded in Antarctica for like 6 weeks with no face mask.
And I think Shanahan's a little more tan than Coughlin is,
Yeah.
so the contrast on Coughlin is way more,
Right.
the white and the red rather than just the tan and the red. So
Exactly.
safe to say Coughlin wins the red off. Is that an agreement?
Yeah, he's a commie.
All right.
Yeah.
Way to go. You won something.
Some new foundation.
There you go. But one of the things that I was impressed with, the thing I was impressed with the most was, we seem to, just because we're a Peyton Manning team, we've seemed to come across as this soft, like run and gun type of offense team. A finesse team. Yeah, a lot of AFC bloggers have kind of called us a soft AFC, a run and shoot kind of team. Not the most physical team in the world.
Huh.
Are
they trying to like refer to Vickerson's belly? Like what?
I don't know, because people seem to think that we also don't have Jack Del Rio. Do you think Jack Del Rio is going to put up with a defense that's not physical?
No.
Not in a million years.
No, because who did he play with again? Oh, yeah, the Steel Curtain and Jack Lambert. I think he's got the big balls.
Yeah. So that was the thing I think I was impressed with most in this entire game, because when you look at our linebackers with Trevathan and Woodyard and, Chris Harris and Duke Iheanacho in the secondary, these guys are hitting people big time. There were a lot of big hits in that game.
Yeah.
And Knighton and Vickerson in the middle, with Wolf on the defensive line, we're punching people in the face, and it wears them down. Come the second half, there's just kind of like you guys did to the Niners. There's just no will left.
Yeah,
like they don't even want to play. Eli Manning was the only one who wanted to play in the end of that game.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, when you start wearing guys down, I mean, we ran it down their throats. We couldn't get anything on the outside. But
fucking ninja sitting across from me. There is a ninja right across from me.
I had my beer bottle on top of and it was an empty one that I was going to put aside.
It was teetering, man.
On top of a piece of paper, and when I put my hand on the paper, my wrist was sweaty.
Well, there's still a drink on the bottom there, so there was some damage to be done if it would have.
Exactly. And so when I lifted my hand up, it stuck to the paper, and the paper moved, and the bottle fell over, and I tried to complete the sentence while catching the beer bottle, and I would have.
And I couldn't keep it together.
Yeah. So, anyways, you jelly them. Yeah. And, it takes their will away, because when you get a cock jelly down your throat, you have no more will.
And that's all there is to it. But to dominate on the road, going this far on the road, too, this is about as far of a trip besides Buffalo I think we could get.
Yeah.
And so to go over there, we did not get out.
A team.
We didn't get out physical even from the start of this game, which that's what a lot of people were saying. Well, in the beginning of the game, Giants might be a little more physical. Not even close, man.
I didn't think that. Whoever said that's a fucking moron. I'll just say that right now.
Dude, I definitely read several things this week that kind of pinned us as a soft team, and I don't really get it.
Well, I think that little bit comes from the whole East Coast, West Coast bias thing. Everybody on the East Coast thinks they're fucking tough as nails, and they think everybody in the West is soft, when we actually, we're out in the yard one day doing yard work at a mutual yard, and the gal from New York goes, "Sigh, you Montana boys are just more physical."
That's the way it is.
I
mean, even it does translate to football, because now we just dominated two East Coast teams, Baltimore and the Giants.
Yeah.
And then the other biggest physical game was the Seahawks and the Niners this weekend.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely a change. I think the West Coast teams or the Rocky Mountain teams are definitely the more physical teams.
Yeah,
And
Western teams.
I think this is probably the most physical Peyton Manning team that the NFL's seen, because his Indy teams were not all that physical. They were very much a finesse team.
But they
didn't have Jack Del Rio either as their defensive coordinator.
Exactly. That's one thing. I mean, they did have Tony Dungy, and I don't think he's soft. But the thing is that they have better personnel as far as on defense, number one. And then number two, as far as, being a physical team, you do run the ball more now, because you don't want Peyton Manning taking those hits. And so how do you extend the life of an aging quarterback?
You got to be able to run the ball.
Yeah, a la Terrell Davis.
Noshawn actually had a 7.2 yard average per carry.
Holy cow. He ran hard. He was thumping people.
He was running people over. He had 2 touchdown runs of over 20 yards to the outside, too. So we're sealing off the edges. Our offensive linemen are moving really well. I know we just lost Ryan Clady for a couple weeks, but Chris Clark is the guy who played in the preseason. And, he's got a lot of experience. I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal.
Yeah.
Of course, you like to have Ryan Clady in there. That's stupid to say that I didn't. But
yeah, it was.
Well, it would have been. And so I don't think we're going to lose too much there. I think our run game is going to be just fine, especially against the Raiders next week.
Yeah.
But the thing I like is that even though they were playing us deep and they were sometimes doubling our receivers, 25 of Peyton's 30 completions came to our wide receivers. So you could tell when they're giving you the underneath because he's using it a lot, but he's still trying to take his chances down the field when he thinks that he can. He threw several. Some of them fell incomplete, but he got one to Andre Caldwell that was pretty impressive, just like the one against Baltimore. So he's taking his chances. He's not afraid, and I like to see that.
So let me ask you a question. You'd pointed out that Russell had thrown 3 to his receivers in the whole game, and you just said, what, 25?
25 of his 30.
Right. So
2 receivers and tight ends.
I'm curious, what do you think will happen when you guys face an elite secondary? Because we talked about the Giants beforehand as far as being a secondary that was depleted, with Prince Akamura not playing.
But he did play.
Well, I mean, he was obviously not 100%. So
it was, it was a light concussion.
And what is he? And what is he, anyways? As far as a corner,
he's a pretty decent corner.
He's a decent corner, but he's not a top 10 corner. And who else do they have? And, yeah, exactly.
But neither is average Wah.
Yeah, well, I know, but the point being is that you look at that secondary, it's mediocre at best.
Yeah, they're not the best.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, what do you think happens when you have to play somebody that has is that going to take away your main option of your offense, or is that something that
I don't think so at all, and because I think Baltimore's secondary was actually pretty decent. They're not great, but they had a Hedebo. They have some guys that were there, and Manning threw
guys,
7 touchdowns. And if you remember what Manning did to actually your guys' first team defense in the preseason, he had no problems moving the ball.
How many points did you guys score?
He had 163 yards on your second.
How many points did he score? That was the question that I asked. So.
All right, well, anyways, that's irrelevant. But, I mean, he had no problem moving the ball against your guys' secondary, and that's all I can really say about that. We've faced you guys. I know it was just preseason. We haven't had a challenge like that yet. But, no, I don't think Sherman's really going to completely shut down Demaryius Thomas. He's not an Anquan Bolton. He's a huge guy.
He shut down Megatron.
But, well, okay, good for you. This is the Broncos segment. So we're going to stop talking about your Seahawks.
No, I'm talking.
Okay.
I didn't bring up the Seahawks. I said against an elite defense. You brought up the Seahawks.
Well, because that's who we hold the precedent to at this point.
Well, there's other good secondaries. I mean, that's all I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I mean, Chiefs have a good secondary. That's kind of where I was going with that.
I don't think we'll have a problem with them either. I mean, Manning will take anything that you give him.
Right. That's kind of what I was getting to. Is in this game, that's all I was trying to get to. Is that in this game they have a better front seven than they do a back end. So you're probably going to attack that with your receivers a lot more. If you play a defense that say has a better secondary than their front seven, Orange Julius is going to catch a lot more balls.
Well, I mean, just like you said in the segment before, we're just going to take what the defense gives us.
Yeah, that's all I was getting at.
But I mean, all I can say is that we've faced elite secondaries before, and especially in the preseason, we didn't even have a problem. So I don't really think that a good secondary is going to face Peyton Manning at this point.
Just a question.
And also just because we've had 2 years now, so the chemistry is a lot better than a lot of the secondaries we're going to face, even on our schedule. So
sure.
Our defense held them to 1.2 yards per rush the entire game. That was it.
That's pretty.
You could measure that in inches. 23 total yards, 88 in the first the first 2 games total. We got 4 interceptions. A lot of that was because Peyton Manning had to try and do everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, this Giants team they were out of it by the second half, man. They were just done. They didn't even want to play.
Yeah. You mean Eli Manning had to do everything?
Did I say Peyton?
Yeah, you did. You got your Mannings confused. Keep your Mannings straight.
This is why I got to do my segment first, because I have too many beer. See, man, this is a problem for me.
Hey, I'm road lagged and drunk, I still managed. Okay?
I can't even read my own handwriting at this point.
That's a function of the beer?
That's a combination of things.
I think it has to do more with your education.
That's a combination. But, one of the things that did concern me was the yards per catch with their 3 top guys. Yeah. I mean, you had Victor Cruz. He had 118 yards. Brendan Myers had 74. He's a tight end. And Hakeem Nicks had 83. He was a big receiver. Gave us a couple problems. But, man, that's a lot of yards per completion. And I think that was directly because our pass rush was slow this game. We had a slow pass rush.
Yeah.
And Manning had a lot of time back there, which means our coverage was good. But the minute Eli Manning's great at moving in the pocket. And he can extend these routes a long ways just by staying in the pocket.
Of course.
And so if you can't get anybody to him and he's got 3 to 4 seconds to throw the ball, he's going to find people. He threw for over 300 yards. And that was a little bit concerning to me, but they were also in a pass-heavy offense the entire second half trying to catch up.
Well, he's a top 10 quarterback in this league. If he gets a little bit of time, he'll pick you apart like any top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, you can't really shut him down too much.
And that's fine. But that's one of those things that you look at and you say, yeah, this is a part of our game that's struggling a little bit. But is there going to be a white knight coming in on a horse or on thunder, so to speak, here in a few weeks? I think there is if he stops speeding.
I think it shows how much we're missing Von Miller.
Yeah.
And when you factor in his sacks,
you glossing
and how
right over the
offenses-
speeding.
And yeah, I am. You're such a dick. Stop being a dick. What a dick.
It's like going against my nature.
Oh God. All right.
The veins start to throb.
I just thought you were going to be easier competition, claiming you were all jet lag. You're sandbagging me today, is
I'm
what
not
you're doing.
sandbagging you, dude.
Fucking asshole. But we only had one sack all day. That was Danny Trevathan, who had 10 tackles. He had a sweet game.
Yeah. Nacho had a good game. He did.
Thanks for chiming in, buddy.
So I'm a dick, and then when I agree, I'm an asshole too.
Yeah, I don't like you at all.
I feel like I'm talking to my ex-wife.
Oh
God.
Ew.
Do you want pizza for dinner? No. You're an asshole. Do you want pizza for dinner? Yes. You're an asshole.
You need to vent a little.
No, I'm just making an analogy.
All right, so I guess my overview of the first half with our offense was we started out with good rhythm. Moreno was running the shit out of the ball. We ran the ball pretty well this game.
Yeah.
Our offensive line did a great job, and we finally started to click again in the third quarter. We found the run game even more. Moreno was busting off some big runs. We ended up having that Welker touchdown.
Again.
He did.
Good vision.
He's a really patient runner, and it fits our running scheme really well.
Who had that first fumble out of your running backs?
Monty Ball did.
The Monte did?
Inside the 5-yard line. That killed our first drive.
The Canadian Monte cannot be dropping the ball like that.
Man, we went like 80 to 90 yards. It was long, and we were just rolling at this point, and then bloop. They couldn't do anything to stop us.
Yeah, you guys went just right down the field on that first drive.
Yep. Eric Decker bounced back with 9 receptions this game, so that was a plus.
Was there a pun in there?
No. But one of the things that I noticed that was really impressive this game was the blocking on basically our offensive line and our receivers and tight ends. Everybody was blocking. Our downfield blocking was great, and that's what sprung those two
Virgil
20-plus yards.
Had a big block on the one touchdown where he seals off the DN to start, and then he
go
chips
got
down to the
somebody else.
linebacker or who else. I don't know. Maybe it was a safety.
Yeah, he was the key on that play.
I don't know. I was just more impressed it was 2-on-1.
And then Orlando Franklin was one downfield on the first touchdown run who sealed everybody off. He's a big body to try and move down there.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of good things I saw on offense. And, our defense just completely shut down the run. I mean, like I said earlier, 23 yards. Knighton and Vickerson in the middle are just ridiculous. Our linebackers are too fast. And there was one thing that the Giants did in week 1 was they went to the flats and they had a lot of underneath type of stuff.
Sure.
But with the quickness of our defensive line to get outside on the run and with the quickness of our linebackers, they didn't have any of that all game. Anything that was open was in the middle of the field, and that was because we'd have to blitz to try and get some sort of pass rush generated.
Right.
And so it would leave a couple of things just in man coverage where we'd dip back into his zone, and that's when Peyton Manning really started to pick us apart a little bit. But, that was,
That's
you give them one thing, you're going to take another, and vice versa. So
well, yeah, I mean, that's a function of Vaughn not being in there. I mean, you talk about the Cowboys pass rush at this point in the season, it's probably better than your guys' at this point in the season. So
yeah, we're
with
struggling
more pressure.
a little bit.
With more pressure, you're going to end up throwing a lot more checkdowns in the flat and things like that.
Yep.
And I think Rob Ryan's a little more aggressive in his defensive calls as far as blitzing goes. He blitzes more, so there was more stuff there in the flats. Whereas against you guys, he had to hit those guys just a little further down the field because he had the time to.
Yep. So it's all about how you're trying to play the team and what you're given.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
play the hand you're dealt.
We had a couple of shitty penalties in the second half that actually gave the Giants a little bit of life.
Yeah, that one touchdown drive, that was, you basically took that drive, put it in a cardboard box, took out the Christmas wrapping paper, put it on it, and put 3 fancy bows on it.
Oh, for
each
one bow, 3 bows.
Yeah, each one of the penalties on that.
Jeez.
2 pass interference penalties, and then that was a personal foul or
there was the taunting one.
The taunting.
Down inside the 5.
Yep,
we'd stuff them inside the 5 on a run 3 different times.
Yeah.
And then on the 4th play they ran, as far as a run goes, they ended up scoring. But
yeah,
other
Brandon Jacobs
than
finds a nut once in a while.
Yeah, but I mean, other than the penalties and stuff, I mean, some of them, they were correct, but the other ones were kind of horse shit. Other than that, to be able to stuff a physical run team that's supposed to be a physical run team anyways, 3 times inside the 5-yard line, that was pretty sweet to watch.
That team is not a physical run team anymore. It wasn't last year. It's not this year. That offensive line is not that offensive line from 3 years ago.
No, the age has hit them too.
It does. How many of their offensive linemen are analysts on NFL Network? You know what I mean? Like, there's just they're gone.
More than people would like to admit. I think
exactly.
But so the penalties were kind of a problem. But we had that crazy interception off of
that's just bad
Tony
luck.
Carter's back leg dumped right to Chris Harris. That was cool.
That's an Emmert bounce right there if I've ever seen one.
But in the fourth quarter, the one thing I also noticed was everywhere Eli Manning was throwing the ball, there were 3 guys on him.
That just wasn't 3 Duke nachos?
No. Well, Duke ended up getting hurt in the fourth quarter anyways.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he in the locker room afterwards, he was walking around. He said his foot was fine, though.
Well,
you know, Ryan Clady will be out a couple weeks.
You don't hurt a superhero.
No. And Robert Ayers, I believe, was the other one who went down, but we don't know what happened to him yet. We'll get more on that when the injury report comes out. But Duke will be playing next week. So
that's good.
Yeah, because he's everywhere, man. So was Woodyard. Wesley Woodyard, he's just still incredible for us.
Duke has really picked up the slack for No Vaughn in a lot of ways.
I think so. And I
flies around and makes plays, makes tackles.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of that'll transition right to talking about the Raiders game, I guess.
Oh, toilet bowl.
The toilet bowl participant winner.
Yes. Yes, but play that toilet bowl team.
You know, I actually did watch some of this game, as painful as it was.
You did.
And one thing that I did notice is that the Raiders are going to run some read option, and I think Duke is going to blow up the entire thing. I think he's going to pretty much quarterback eye everything out there because Terrell Pryor's not going to beat us deep, especially with our cover guys and Raheem Moore back there. It's not going to happen because we can cover the tight ends also. So I think he's just going to roam around and Troy Polamalu these guys.
I think the book is out on how to defend the read option. You've seen the way that we've done it to both Cam and Kaepernick, and then the way that both those teams have played us. They've really limited these quarterbacks and their running ability because you play that kind of mush rush where you don't come totally after them. You stay disciplined.
That end just stays there and watches. You let the interior guys try and deal with the run.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Colin Kaepernick's stats in that game, as far as rushing goes, looked a lot better than he did. I think.
He had one lengthy run and then a bunch
couple
of like
very
sevens.
Beginning of the game.
Yeah.
But then you guys didn't give him anything.
No.
So the book is out on how to defend the read option.
Yeah, and those were on scramble plays mainly. Like
when he was trying to extend something because nobody was open.
Yeah, where he would spin out of something or something along those lines. It wasn't that we weren't stopping the read option, and I think that's exactly what you guys can do with Terrell Pryor.
You just make an adjustment on it and you stay home and make sure you defend the quarterback. And that's he ran it successfully, but again, this is against the Jaguars defense.
Right.
I don't hate the Jaguars. It's just I'm glad
facts are facts. They're the worst team
They're the worst team, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Raiders, they did come out at home. They had some youthful energy. They're a young team. They're an organization that's on the up and up as far as what they've been doing in the draft and their management and stuff goes. I mean, Darren McFadden's healthy. Pryor is fast, and he's making a couple throws here and there.
I heard one talking head say today that they're going to draft Johnny Manziel. They're not going to draft Johnny Manziel. Reggie McKenzie's not a fucking idiot. You said this is a team on the upswing because
this
they have
is not Al Davis coming in again.
No, Terrell Pryor is the last of the Al Davis picks.
He is, and they're making do.
Yeah.
Dennis Allen is, former Bronco.
Yeah, I mean,
oh man,
and I don't think Terrell Pryor is necessarily a dumpster fire. I think he's
he just needs some time.
He's maybe a half a step better than Geno Smith.
Yep, he was out of college a year earlier than he wanted to be. He still wanted another year to play in college. He's a young NFL quarterback that's going to need some time. I don't think he's going to be horrible.
Is he Jake Locker 2.0?
I think he'd be better than Jake Locker.
Really?
Yeah. I think he was going through. I saw him go through a couple reads early on in the game. I think Jake Locker he doesn't look good.
I haven't watched the Tennessee games yet, but they're winning. I know that much.
I guess we'll see what the Raiders can do against a decent team also. This was the Jaguar. So all these things that I'm going to say about the Raiders, keep in mind this was against the Jaguars.
That was their week 1 match. No, that was week 2 matchup. What was Raiders week 1 matchup? Who did they play?
Give me a second. There's so many games.
Because are they 1-1 or 2-0?
They're 1-1. They lost week 1.
But it was to
Indianapolis.
And it was close.
It was close.
Okay.
So, another thing is Pryor is good on the read option, but he went through a couple progressions on plays, never more than 2 though. So I think he'll get to that point, but right now he's going to be an easy quarterback for an experienced Jack Del Rio defense to contain.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to really have any problem there. Their O-line was pretty putrid in their pass protection. So every once in a while
they alliteration.
Yeah, I know, right?
I got pretty putrid.
But they got a good push in the interior part of their linemen, but I don't really think this lineman is kind of bad, or this line's kind of bad, and I don't think they're going to get any sort of push against our defensive tackles whatsoever.
No.
I don't see the Raiders scoring a lot of points here.
Darren McFadden is a good back, don't get me wrong, but
yeah, he is.
If you don't have anybody blocking for you, unless you're Barry Sanders, you're not going to make yards.
Well, and the Jaguars even contain the Raiders on the outside as far as the run game goes. So you're not going to get that anywhere. And so, basically a couple of keys to the game for me is we got to stop the run to be able to prevent the play action, because Terrell Pryor did make a couple of good plays out of play action, because that's basically a 1 or 2 read kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
You either got a tight end coming to the flat or a receiver just behind him, or even a 2 tight end set. Either way, I think Duke's going to be the key to the run to the read option, and I think Pryor is that he's trying to run a similar style as Wilson and Kaepernick and Newton and RG3, but he just doesn't have the talent or the experience or anything else at this point. So, other than that, we're going to win that game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot like the Hawks-Jags game. Like, what are you actually going to say? You're better at every single position.
We're just a better football team.
You're better on the coaching staff.
It's at home on Monday night.
Exactly.
After a big win on the East Coast.
Good night.
I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. So, well, there you have it, folks. It'll be 3-0 for both the Seahawks and the Broncos coming up here in the next week. That sounds pretty nice, actually.
That does sound nice,
because that's precisely 7 wins away from almost a guaranteed playoff berth.
Yep. I guess one of the other things I want to talk about just briefly is that when we're scoring this many points in a game and other teams are playing from behind, it's given a lot of our backups a lot of quality playing time. In real time, whereas maybe a year ago when we were 2-3 in the first 5 games, these guys weren't getting playing time at all.
Right.
They weren't seeing any kind of action. So now if somebody goes down, it's not as big of a nightmare because these guys are going to have some experience. They're going to have some game time feel to them. So I like that happening too.
Cool. Yeah.
And I think that's it, man.
Well, very good. There's your donkey spit there, folks. As entertaining as it always is.
Or it wasn't. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I don't know. Enjoy it or don't. Fuck it. We don't give a shit. All right. Well,
it's probably a little crappy.
One way or the other,
that's what you got.
You better come back for the NFL segment because we have our picks, which we disagree wildly on this week.
Yeah, we're on different sides of the bar here.
Yeah.
And we're also going to rank our top 5 lines in the NFL, I guess.
Well, top 5. I just said number 1.
Yeah, let's just do that instead.
Okay, that's good.
That sounds like less preparation.
Are we going to do our top 5 picks for this week? Top 5 teams?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every week.
Every week.
Every week, power rankings.
Okay. The A5 power rankings.
Power rankings. Elmer
Boy.
Fudd.
Boy,
Think we could get Elmer Fudd as a guest?
we already have him, Jared.
I don't know if that was your creepy voice or your Elmer Fudd voice.
Jared, it was my Elmer Fudd voice.
That's enough.
You're right. Stay tuned, folks.
All right.
Welcome back, everybody. Time for the NFL segment. We're going to go over our picks here from last week, or maybe just the totals and everything. We're going to give you our top 5 power rankings, the AFOD top 5 power rankings for the NFL for week 2. But
Totally forgot to do mine. Hold on.
Jared's gonna write those down right now because I was actually gonna start with that, Jared. So thanks for not doing your homework. Where did the dog eat it? What the fuck?
Just dodge it, man. You know who you're working with. Just go to something else.
Okay,
it's like the Jared compensation moment.
We'll get to that. So let's start a little bit here with the picks from week 2 and our winners. I was not the winner. I'm just gonna put that out there. But honestly, I wasn't terrible. There was somebody that didn't even put their name to their picks, so they ended up with 7. It's a good thing you didn't put your name to it because now you've avoided the shame. But and this is only if the Cincinnati score holds up because we're actually recording this as that's going on. The winners, there is a tie for first, and it is between Jared with 13. So congratulations on that, man. I will concede that you beat me this week.
13's a big number. Probably one of the biggest numbers I've ever had in the picks. I tie. Who did I tie with?
Your buddy. He went to a Pro Bowl.
Greasy Pro Bowl.
Greasy Pro Bowl.
I got to give a shout out to the Greasy Pro Bowl. You were the only other guy who I know of that actually remembers that Greasy went to a Pro Bowl.
You should have seen Jared light up like a kid in the candy store when I showed him right before this segment, like the total from the picks. He's like, Greasy Pro Bowl?
There's somebody else who knows. So I appreciate that. Good Broncos fan. And you also chose Miami, which was a smart decision. You and I were the only ones to do that.
Yeah, so
better than everybody.
Congratulations for being randomly lucky. So by rule, Jared, you get to pick the cover art on the Facebook page.
It's going to be all orange and blue.
For this, so close your eyes when you go there. But if you are compelled to go there, it is a Flock of Donkies, DONKIES, on Facebook.com. We put the picks up. You can enter your picks each week. One thing that we decided about the picks, because we had a few people that didn't enter from the first week, which is totally fine, because what we're going to allow people to do is throw out their bottom 2 weeks from the entire season. So we'll count up your totals for 15 weeks. So that allows you, if you forget to put in for a week, or you have a really bad week or a clunker, you get to throw that out. So you get to throw 2 out. You get to keep 15.
It'll make sense later.
Your top 15. No, that makes sense now. You act like I'm not explaining.
No, I'm actually just impressed that you were willing to tackle that at this point.
Yeah, we're
good for you.
Numerous beers in.
Oh, yeah, because we're dodging around the fact that I was unprepared.
Yeah, that too. I should
be applauding you.
I just riffed for you. That's what they call that in the biz, Jared. I just riffed. It's like if there's a weather delay at the game for like an hour and Bob Costas has to make
Adam
television. I just made magic right there.
All right, let's go over this. Let's get this done.
Okay, so yes, congratulations, Greasy, Pro Bowl, and Jared.
That's right. We're the best there is out there right now.
Who came in second though? We should talk about those people because except for it's Dan Hill. No, we're not going to talk about you. You and your coconut milk buds. Don't like you anymore. And then also Robert with 12, longtime listener, 0-time caller, but he is a numerous emailer and he's put in his picks for each week.
It's going to be competitive.
2 strong showings because he tied for first last week as well. So we'll
13 though. That's big time.
Yeah. So maybe I'll put a link so people can link into the final results if they just want to look them up themselves because it's that interesting and everybody will do it.
Yeah. Later on in the season, everybody's going to want to know who's winning.
Well, yeah, exactly.
There's a lot at stake
especially if you're Leah. She needs to know.
Pride.
Yeah, at all times. So, speaking of the AFOD Top 5 Power Rankings, which we were supposed to have done a while ago.
I have had mine done the whole time. You just wanted to bullshit, so I let you.
I love hearing myself talk. So, Jared, I just threw myself on the sword again for you. Look at what a great co-host I am. It's like how good of a wingman I am.
You know what? You have to be nice to me right now. You fucking destroyed me in the Broncos section, man. I was getting all pissed and stuff. I was like,
I unraveled
you want to talk about the Seahawks?
No,
you didn't even, but you did. I knew it. You were in my head. I knew that when you said elite secondary, I was like, he's talking right about the fucking Seahawks. I knew you were.
There's other elite Seahawks.
See? You just proved it. All right. Thank you. I'm not crazy. You just proved it right there. They both
start with S, Seahawks and secondary. They go together.
Yeah, it proves you're a dick.
There's a lot of things that prove I'm a dick. So,
all right, who do you got first, Adam?
Look, I'm a realist. I'm a realist, and I will look at the NFL as objectively as possible.
Number one.
And I see one team that has had 2 dominant wins. Only one in the NFL has had 2 dominant wins on the home, and on the road, on the prairie, and on the road. And so at home and on the road, that is the Denver Broncos. This isn't even my second favorite team in the NFL. I just tolerate them for you. And
you do a good job, too.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's not like I have like this giant Broncos love, but when I look at it, honestly, as a Seahawks fan, who I think we have a close case, but I can concede, a few things that have gone past the eye test over the first 2 weeks, and you guys have looked sharper coming out than we have, especially in execution and in overall discipline and all those manners. So,
yep. Well, I think a lot of it also comes down to the coaching. These coaches this is the second year they've been together. Adam Gase is our new offensive coordinator, and it shows. I haven't even really mentioned that yet. We're scoring 45 points a game. So. But, I think a reason we're number one right now is because we have these veterans who are working together who have been in the NFL for a long time. You got John Fox, Jack Del Rio, and Peyton Manning basically working together. Wesley Woodyard knows the defense. Champ Bailey's around still. I think it's just a lot of veterans who are pulling together some crisp, clean games at this point. And we're just polished right now, whereas there are still some other younger teams who are trying to figure it out. So this is still early, but I think it's clear you have to put us up there right now just because of all that we just said.
Right. That was a consensus pick.
All right.
Yeah. It's like if an extremely hot girl walks by and she's a consensus 10, she's a consensus 10.
You give the guy aside from you
no matter what your type is, that's a consensus.
That's the one.
Exactly.
All right. Let's move on to number 2.
All right. Great. Because this is a good time for me. This was actually a very close second. but it is obviously the Seattle Seahawks. And yes, I'm a complete fucking homer, but you tell me,
I agree, though.
when you put the spank down on the team that everybody was crowning last week as the next Super Bowl champion, 29-3.
That and your defense really did, as much as I love my own defense, you guys are setting the precedent as far as the defense plays in the NFL. You shut everything down about them. Cam Newton also in the week before. And there was a lot of hype built up about Cam Newton actually coming into the season about this offense, and you guys shut down 2 of them. You gave up 3 points to Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. And your guys' coverage has been everywhere. You're physical. It was an impressive win. Your guys' defense kind of stands alone at the top of the NFL, I think, right now.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Pete Carroll's always wanted to do. We're playing to our identity. It's going to be just fine. I
I wouldn't be upset.
No.
So Broncos, Seahawks 1-2, I think. But I think we're going to look into that going either way a lot this year just because of the quality of your defense and just the quality of the overall rosters. I think it's going to be arguable both ways,
Yeah, I mean, we'll see where we are after week 8 and after week 12 and after all the weeks because that's what you do.
All the weeks,
make these picks. But yeah, so cool. 1-2, we got that. Number 3, I have still the San Francisco 49ers.
I do too.
Okay.
Just because I really couldn't put Green Bay above them because the Niners already beat Green Bay.
Right.
And that's pretty much where it is to me. I didn't see a team this weekend that was gonna be better than them.
Right.
That hadn't beat them.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
The Seahawks are better than them, but I think the top 2 teams are really that echelon right now.
I think those top 3 are actually pretty close. I think we happened to thump them on a day that was just our day a little bit too.
Even Al Michaels said that. I even wrote it down. What the hell did Al Michaels? I don't know. I texted it to you during the game. He was like, that was just a good old-fashioned beatdown or something.
That's exactly what it was. That's
so, I mean, the 49ers are number 3.
I wish he would have said it was a mollywompin.
I don't think they could say that on there.
They can. They said it on ESPN radio out of Seattle. Mollywompin.
They clearly don't know what it is.
No,
Fans,
do not.
Find out for yourself.
Yeah, Urban Dictionary. That's a good one.
Check it out.
Might involve a penis.
Maybe a cheek.
Yep. And,
all right.
Making your mark. But
anyways, yeah, number 3 it's clearly San Francisco.
Yeah. Okay.
Who's your number 4?
My number 4 is the Saints of New Orleans.
I got Green Bay.
Okay. Well.
And then I got New Orleans under them.
Oh, so we're just flip-flopped.
Yeah.
God, we're real original thinkers.
Wow,
this is an amazing segment here. I bet you're all just
broke
stunned.
ground.
Yeah. Although a few of you might be wondering why the Chicago Bears aren't up there, and I'd be like, because they're the Chicago Bears. They do this every year. They go like really well for about 9 weeks. And
they're still the Chicago Bears, Leah.
The wheels on the bus fall off. So
yeah. So that was a pretty boring picks. Maybe we should move on to our picks.
The picks?
Which I will probably win this week.
The week 3 picks.
Or at least tie for the
I'm
victory.
down 3 picks over the course of 2 weeks, and you're talking mad shit.
I tied
34
for first in both
we're
week
3
1.
apart.
I tied in both week 1 and week 2 for the win.
34 weeks, and we're 3 picks apart.
Can't take away a win.
34 picks, and we're 3
Win's
picks
a win.
apart. Win's a win. Yeah.
That was a lot of P's in one sentence.
Yeah. Had a pack of pickled peppers and PBR.
All right, so let's go over these picks here, and
Okay.
you and I actually differ quite a bit on these ones.
All right.
Which kind of makes it interesting because in the total number of our picks, it's going to kind of either level out the playing field or it's going to be a big swing one way or the other. And my picks are always better. So, how you doing over there? You doing okay?
You're just cracking me up right now.
You doing okay?
I am doing okay.
Oh, yeah. What's wrong with you?
Well, now I choked on my own spit, okay?
That's
this is
what it
going
was.
really well over here.
That's what it was.
So,
all right.
Yeah, you're making me fucking laugh.
All right.
All right. Of course, there's only one thing that can happen with your picks when we disparage this month. Either there's going to be a big difference at the end of it, or it's going to be real close.
I was just trying to keep those sentences going while you were over there struggling.
Sorry.
All right.
Well, don't say stupid shit and I'll laugh less.
Thursday night, we got Kansas City in Philly. Andy Reid going back to his home place.
Okay, so this to me initially was a really interesting game. There's a lot of plot lines, obviously, with the whole Andy Reid thing, Chip Kelly and his new offense, and whether or not that's going to be one of those things that continue on through the course of the season if people figure out a way to stop it. San Diego actually looked pretty decent against them. And, did a lot of different things to confuse them there. I don't know exactly how good San Diego's defense is, but Philly still, managed to put up 30 points. So I thought, hey, they're at home. This could be my pick here. But when it's all said and done, Andy Reid is coming back for revenge and he's riding his horse, Alex Smith. And he's coming into town.
Some quality analysis you're throwing out here.
And he's going to get it done. I believe in Alex Smith. I'm higher on Alex Smith than a lot of people. I think he was just done dirty back in San Francisco.
Well, he wasn't. All the offensive coordinators that he had, 5 different ones in 5 years.
Yeah.
That's hard to function with. And now you got a quarterback-friendly coach.
It's not his fault that his offensive coordinators had commitment issues, okay? Like, you can't put that on him.
I'd be so good friends with them, wouldn't I?
Yeah. You really would.
But Kansas City's just a much-improved team. They actually went out in the all-reds last week.
Yeah, those were ugly.
I liked them better than with the white pants.
No way.
I thought the change was nice.
Oh, it was like a giant maxi pad running around out there.
But what you got to understand, man, is I've been watching this fucking Chiefs team wear the same goddamn uniform since I was a fan. A little bit of a change is nice. I fucking think they're ugly, man.
Look, I embrace change as much as the next guy, but
I hate the Chiefs,
but
dude.
I still think the Jaguars have ugly uniforms, and it was a change. Seahawks got change of uniforms. They have the best in the league now. So I embrace change. I embrace change.
This was a plus, man. The red pants, I liked them.
Okay,
but no,
so
the
that's
Broncos
why you're picking,
have the best uniform.
That's why you're picking Kansas City, is because they're going to go all reds again, maxi pad uniform.
What an asshole. No, I'm picking them because Andy Reid's the shit, man. He's got that whole team playing disciplined. Their defense is good. Their secondary is good. It's going to be the best secondary that we probably have to face all year, really, if you think about it.
That's true. Andy Reid is the shit.
Andy Reid's the shit, man. He's a good coach. And I think Alex Smith having a quarterback-friendly coach helps. Okay. I think they got a decent run game, enough receivers for Alex Smith to use. And I think Philadelphia and that Chip Kelly offense is just going to bite them in the butt a little bit,
Yeah, they could. They could. So
I think that fast-paced offense has a lot of downfalls also.
Yeah, because it gets your defense back out on the field really quickly. But so we both go KC there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. 10 minutes later.
Yeah. So on to the next game. Green Bay is that Cincy? I'm reading it upside down and backwards.
Oh, I'm doing this. Okay, we got Green Bay and Cincinnati.
Okay.
I got Green Bay, man.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean,
I thought about this though. You should think about your picks. But one thing I did realize is that Aaron Rodgers is still better than Andy Dalton, and I think their defenses are actually pretty close. AJ Green is the best receiver on the field still.
Yep.
Maybe in the NFL.
He's got a solid argument, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, but I still can't go against Aaron Rodgers after I've been fucked on Green Bay twice. I better pick him to win. Green Bay.
I got Green Bay too.
Okay.
For all them reasons.
Cool.
Same thing. I mean, I just don't think he's going to lose to Andy Dalton.
Except you haven't been fucked by Green Bay on your last 2 weeks of picks.
Nope, because I've been picking them right. All right, St. Louis in Dallas.
I think I went St. Louis here.
You did.
Yeah.
And I went with Dallas.
Yeah.
St. Louis, they haven't impressed me at all this year. I know they're supposed to have this stout defensive front and all this other stuff, but you know what? They haven't really impressed me. And
well,
so
what do they need to do,
they need
to put on a song and dance? What do you need to do?
I don't know. Maybe play better, win. I mean, they just they don't do anything. They don't produce any offense. Sam Bradford is Sam Bradford. He is what I thought he was going to be when he came in. He's mediocre.
Right.
He's never going to do anything to flash. I don't think they're going to win a game in Dallas. I think Dallas is just better than they are.
Okay.
Tony Romo beats Sam Bradford.
So I'm going with St. Louis because I think that everything that you said about St. Louis is absolutely correct. And I also think that if you take everything you said about St. Louis and say it about Dallas, you are absolutely correct. I think this is the battle.
That's also true.
I think this is a battle of mediocre teams.
I'm just trying to make my argument for a stupid pick.
And when I
this
know
pick sucks.
is that mediocre teams struggle when a defensive line dominates, and St. Louis Rams have a better defensive line than the Dallas Cowboys, even if they haven't impressed you, then I think they're still damn fucking good. Chris Long is quality. This is a good goddamn line. This game is going to surprise people. It's going to be the St. Louis Rams because the NFC West is the best division in football.
All right. You can have your opinion, but just keep in mind
I'm killing you on this podcast. I'm bringing the heat.
I had 13 wins in the last season. In the last week? What do I need to defend?
I'm current champion of this podcast.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
I'm winning the picks again.
Okay.
All right. Where the hell are we?
The next one.
San Diego in Tennessee. Tennessee has impressed me. Unlike the St. Louis Rams. All right. San Diego plays well, but 2 road games in a row, I don't think they got it. I think they lose.
Well, God, you're hilarious. Who did I pick here?
I don't know. Look at the paper.
Wow. Drink Oktoberfest. You'll have a great time. Oh, I picked Tennessee too. So,
man.
Yeah.
I don't know what you were looking for.
My pick. I couldn't remember
it.
Well, no, I kind
okay. Why would you not pick Tennessee? Let's see why we would not pick Tennessee. Is there any reason?
Well, obviously, Mike McCoy has that team a more disciplined team.
Yep.
I heard that somewhere.
From me.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm just asking you to repeat what I said because I don't remember it.
Exactly. I'm trying to help you out, and I'm not your monkey. But San Diego has played a lot better. They have played more disciplined.
Their
Phillip
offense
Rivers,
is polished too.
Yeah,
now.
they're getting better, but Tennessee's a bit unproven. Jake Locker's a bit unproven, but there's just something about what's going on there with CJ2K, and I do like Kenny Britt, even though he's a douchebag. He's actually a good receiver, and I'm higher on Jake Locker than most people.
Yeah, I'm not.
And it's at home.
Yeah, it is at home, and that's kind of why I picked them. Like, I just don't think San Diego is going to travel well in these conditions. I mean, Tennessee's played pretty well. They played Houston all the way into overtime and lost on a couple of magnificent catches. So,
That's true.
I'm going with Tennessee because I think they're playing better than most people think. They just didn't win. Sorry.
Okay.
So next, Cleveland and Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Tell us, boy. Tell us.
I took Cleveland here because
So did I.
and this is super easy for me. Christian
Ponder.
Ponder is the worst quarterback in the league. Move over, Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah, worse than Blaine Gabbert.
Simply by being injured and off the field, that makes you better than Christian Ponder. He stays healthy and on the field, which hurts his team more. So that's all there is to it.
Yep, I agree. I went with Cleveland too, just because Adrian Peterson cannot win you every game.
And I'm going to pick Cleveland every week until they win.
Just to prove a point.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't pick them the first week. I don't remember.
I don't either. All
I
right,
might throw
next.
that week out.
Tampa Bay and New England. Now, this is one that actually made us both think for a minute.
Yeah.
Even though it shouldn't. You wouldn't think that this game you would actually have to think about, but you really do.
On first blush, this is one of those games that you look at and you say, oh, this is a route for sure. It's
Historically
New England at home
speaking,
and
New
it's Josh
England
Freeman.
wins this game.
Yeah. But here's the thing. You look at New England's first two wins. Have they been impressive in any way, shape, or form?
Not at all. They almost lost one to the Jets and the Bills.
Right. They at home to
Tom
the Jets.
Brady's got one receiver to throw to.
13-10. It came down to the last few plays.
Yep.
I'm not impressed. Their receiving core is decimated. Tight end's obviously decimated. One's on death row, about to be decimated.
One's about to have another surgery, most likely.
Yeah.
That's...
He will be decimated.
I think New England gets a little bit better than where they are now just because of the chemistry with some of these younger receivers. I think they'll improve. I don't doubt Tom Brady and Belichick. You can't. I think that this is going to be a tough game for him. I went with them anyways.
I also picked Miami to win this division. And if they are going to win this division, this is the type of game that New England's going to have to lose. That you see that's a little like unexpected, but it's kind of realistic.
Okay.
I'm going Tampa Bay.
That makes sense.
Well, you don't have to get mad about it. Kick your mic stand.
This fucking mic has been in my way all day.
You've been doing battle with that mic stand.
Man. It's going to hit me in the teeth, man. It's going to win that
Are you
battle.
taking martial arts classes or something? Jesus, you're fucking Bruce Lee in that thing.
No, I think it's Bruce Lee and me. I need a little Chuck Norris in me. All right, next game. We differ on this one. Arizona and New Orleans. And if everybody remembers correctly, which I shouldn't have even brought it up because nobody probably remembers, I said I'm going to go with Arizona until they lose.
Yeah, that was stupid.
I'm going with it. But I picked them and you did not last week. I won the pick.
That was still stupid. You got lucky.
I won the pick.
The New Orleans Saints will easily crush the Arizona Cardinals at home.
You're going with the Browns until they win. I'm going to remember that. You said it. Shave your eyebrow, asshole.
No, I'm going with the Browns until they win.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I don't, I have to shave an eyebrow?
No.
Okay,
Just
good. Because
stick with it.
I wouldn't take that bet.
But
Anyway.
this is a tough pick, though.
No, it wasn't.
to have to pick Arizona in this game. I didn't realize they played New Orleans next week when I said that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Next time you make those proclamations, you might start looking at the schedule first.
Dude, they're gonna win this game.
Okay, no, they're not.
What you got against it?
Everything.
All right,
because you're fucking wrong.
that's fair.
It's Drew Brees versus Carson Palmer.
All right.
And I said his name right, so you know I'm right.
Wow.
Yeah.
First time.
I've been strong today.
Yeah, a lot stronger than me. I wasn't in it.
You need some do better.
All right. Detroit in Washington.
I think we differed on this one as well.
We did.
I think I went Detroit
You did.
because Washington's fucked me 2 weeks in a row.
They have.
And there ain't no fury like the wrath of a lover scorn, you know?
There's not.
So
I went Washington. I think this is going to be the first game that they actually play well. I don't know how consistent they're going to be if they continue it, but they're at home. They've struggled. I think this is one game where Shanahan finally, hits his players in the nuts a little bit. It's like we have to play well for a game, and I think they win this game. Shanahan does this, man. I don't think Detroit's all that good.
He hits his players in the nuts, and then they start winning.
But I think they win this game because I don't think Detroit's good, and Reggie Bush is out.
Yeah, well, although they said he could play this week.
I doubt it.
They said he might.
Yeah, he's not Reggie Bush play, Reggie Bush don't play. He'll be like 80%.
That's true. There are percentages to Reggie Bush's availability.
That's why Washington wins this game.
Just
for
ask
sure.
Kim Kardashian. But
you don't know.
His availability varies.
All right, next game, also a tough one. Giants in Carolina.
Giants in Carolina. I'm thinking about this because I know what I picked originally. And no, seriously.
Sure.
No, after watching
No,
the
I'm just
Denver
kidding.
game, I got to thinking about Eli and Big Blue. And how
Oh, did ya? That's nice. I got to thinking
trying
about
to tell a
these guys.
story, Jared. Like,
Very sentimental.
Can't you just sit and listen?
Yeah, I'm going to absorb this.
Okay, good, because I was going somewhere with this. So I sat down. I was thinking of Eli and Big Blue. And I thought to myself,
He lives by himself.
Tom Coughlin doesn't lose 3 fucking games in a row. Tom Coughlin doesn't lose 3 fucking games in a row.
No, he's not.
Not at the beginning of the season. He might do that when it's crunch time, but this is the beginning of the season. This is one of those weird games where they beat somebody
Tom
that has
Coughlin's
looked
crunch
better
time.
in 2 weeks and has a better record. So those are all my thoughts right before, but I'm still going with Carolina because they're the better team. That defensive front 7 is going to have Manning on his back. That offensive line is not what it used to be. Carolina's going to unleash the beast, and they're going to win this game.
I don't think so. I just don't. I think the Giants are going to win this game because Tom Coughlin doesn't go 0-3 to start a season.
Right.
Based on just that, there's no way.
Yeah.
Giants are winning this game.
Okay.
All right.
I based it on the players that play on the field, like the front 7.
That's cool.
Okay, I just saying.
Houston in Baltimore. My picks are bomb. I know what I'm picking here.
Bomb.
Houston-
That can go one or two ways.
Houston
Bomb.
and Baltimore. In Baltimore.
In Baltimore. Well, you know how much I fucking hate Baltimore. And
They're going to
honestly,
screw you again. They screwed you last week, and they'll screw you again.
they didn't screw me the first week when I picked them to lose. Just saying.
This will be 2 out of 3.
And you know what 2 out of 3 is? Ain't bad. So,
They'll screw you 2 times out of 3 games.
oh, no, I thought you mean they're going to go 2 out of 3.
No.
Because that's what's going to happen because the Houston fucking Texans are going to beat them on the road because
You're going to say Astros, were you?
no.
That's what I would have done.
I was going to say Oilers.
All right.
I was totally buying time there. I'm not
That's
going to
just
lie.
as good. I caught it. I was like, where was he going with that?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
All I could think was Oilers and Earl Campbell. So I look at this. Houston has a great passing team. Andre Johnson, their entire receiving core. They're good front to back. Owen Daniels, Walter. That's the white kid. That's a good.
Yeah, him.
Oh, he is. But they're good. They got a good receiving core. Matt Schaub is a serviceable.
No, he's good. Let me tell you why I think Baltimore's going to win this
Thank
game.
you, because the wheels on the bus just
All
fall
right,
off.
because Houston played San Diego in week 1, and they struggled to get started. And basically, San Diego just completely blew a 21-point lead, and Houston ended up winning. Last week, I'm higher on Tennessee right now, but I could also be wrong, and Tennessee could be a bad team. And Houston struggled with them. They had to come back into overtime to beat them. So I don't think Houston beats this Baltimore team at home. I think the fans are going to be rowdy. I think it's going to play a big part. I think Baltimore wins this game.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, we will. All right. Atlanta in Miami. Ooh.
Yeah, that's the noise.
Miami.
I was thinking the Will Smith song.
I got Miami
Yeah.
in this one. I watched them play in the Andrew Luck Tannehill kind of battle, and Miami's not going to make a lot of mistakes. They're not going to hurt themselves. I think at home they'll be fired up after this last win. I think they're just going to beat Atlanta.
Okay, so when I would go with a gut pick, this is what a gut pick would look like to me because Miami is that team that I picked to win the AFC East. I also think that the fucking Falcons are probably my 3rd most hated team in the league. And so I would pick against them just because I fucking hate them. And so I see all of their negative flaws tenfold. But with all that said, I'm trying to take my gut out of the equation.
I went with gut on every single pick this week.
So I'm going to go with my rational brain on this. I'm picking the Atlanta Falcons. They are the more complete team. They have more offensive weapons. You tell me on that Miami Dolphins team who's going to stop Julio Jones, Rodney White, and Tony Gonzalez. No one. That's who. Atlanta Falcons win this game on the road. That's how it's going to go down.
No way. Falcons are a dome team. It's going to be hot down in Miami. It's going to be hot as shit down there. They're not going to handle that well.
So
Miami.
they practice in the dome?
Miami at home.
Okay.
Buffalo at the Jets.
Well, an NFC East barn burner here, Buffalo
I can't
at the
wait
Jets.
to see this game.
This was easy to me. I think the only thing I said to you when we went over these picks was EJ Manuel, Bills.
Buffalo. Yeah, this is an easy one. Jets are still a mess despite their win.
Right.
So
we agree.
Fuck yeah. Wow.
Jesus.
Fuck the Jets.
Yeah.
All right. Indianapolis and San Francisco.
See, at first this seemed like an easy game to pick, and then I started to think about it a little bit more, like I do all these picks. And San Francisco's going to be fucking pissed after this last game.
They're going to be pissed. In Indianapolis, they're not very good. They have Andrew Luck. They got some receivers.
Their defense isn't that good.
They have an okay running game, but yeah, their defense is not good.
Yeah.
The
49ers are the superior team in almost every position group. They're going to be
win.
angry. They're going to be at home.
This is the type of game that Colin Kaepernick will really go off on a defense like this.
Right.
They're slow. They're not as quick to the edges, and he gets there quick. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Now we got Jacksonville and Seattle.
Jacksonville.
Seattle. No. Seattle. This is not even a fun game to watch.
Okay. We don't need to talk about this. We talked about it before.
No.
Okay, cool.
All right. Chicago in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Sunday night.
This was actually extremely easy. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in shambles. They are currently down 20-10 as we speak. And they're in shambles at the same time.
Yep.
Which
Chicago.
is tough for them. So Chicago.
Easy pick. Yeah.
All right. And Monday night game.
Oakland, Denver.
Barn burner.
Yeah.
Denver.
Yeah. Easy
we
enough.
talked about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. All right, folks. So get in your picks. I'm going to put them up on the Facebook page, A Flock of
You guys got a lot
Donkies.
to compete with, man. 13 for me and Greasy Pro Bowl.
You love to measure, don't you, Jared?
13, man.
Okay. 13.
It's a big number.
Depends on the increment. So in this case, get in your picks. I'll put them up on the Facebook page, A Flock of Donkies, DONKIES. Get on there. Put them in there. For those of you who missed, remember,
get on there and put them in there.
And for those of you that missed, we're going to throw out 2 weeks of picks, so get them back in even if you forgot last week. So anyways, with that said, Jared, whether it's in John Elway or John Schneider, there's only one other thing to say. In John's we trust.